Good Monday morning. Rev here this morning. Hope you had a great weekend. I hope you're safe. Hope you're well. Hope you're blessed. I hope you're ready to be a witness for Jesus. You're going to have opportunities. We serve a great God, and we should be telling everybody about Him. I'm going to read some verses to you this morning, about 6 of them or so, but in different places. I'm going to start in Exodus chapter 14. I'm going to read 11 and 12, and then I'll tell you where I'm going next. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us out here in the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, 'Leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians'? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert." And then in chapter 15, verses 23 and 24, when they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. That's why the place is called Marah. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying, "What are we to drink?" And then down to 16, verses 2 and 3. In the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The Israelites said to them, "If we only died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Well, Moses, as I read those verses to you there, we find that Moses has been, and the people that he led out of Egypt have been traveling for days. They've been traveling for, actually, part of it, weeks. They were thirsty. They were hungry for something besides manna. And they're griping and they're complaining. Problem is, Moses became the object of their complaining. Everything was Moses' fault because he was the one that led them out of Egypt. How often does that happen? I mean, we find ourselves unhappy about something and we look for something or even someone to blame other than ourselves. And so all Moses could do was just pray for some wisdom. God, how am I going to handle this? And God, when they were talking about being thirsty, God tells Moses to go speak to the rock, and water would flow. And that would be a sign that God is in control. And not only that Moses was still their leader and that God was their provider. Now, so Moses leads them to this rock. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. If we go back to Exodus chapter 17, we find that people are griping about wanting water, and so Moses goes to God and he says, "I want you to go and stand there before you by the rock at Horeb and strike the rock, and water will come out for the people to drink." So the first time he tells Moses to strike the rock. This time he tells Moses to speak to the rock. But at this point, Moses is pretty exasperated. And so he had come to the end of his rope. And in his anger, what Moses did, instead of speaking to the rock, was he hit the rock twice with his staff. Now, in spite of his disobedience, the water did come out, but God was angry with Moses. Now, this was an opportunity for Moses to lead at a higher level. You see, instead of touching things, with his staff to perform the miracles, Moses could merely speak to the problem. And his very words could have changed the whole situation, but instead, he chose to hit the rock. How many times in our own frustration have we wanted to just hit something? Moses' staff, you see, it represented two things: his physical work as a shepherd and his spiritual work as a shepherd of his people. And here God is calling Moses into a new dimension of using his staff. Up to this point, Moses had always been commanded to touch something with the staff to perform miracles. But now God was allowing Moses to simply speak to the problem. But in Moses' humanness, he made the mistake that a lot of us have made. He forced the issue to accomplish something for God. Now, how many times do you and I force issues instead of waiting on God? Or sometimes we even think we know better than God how to fix something. Moses, he took something that God wanted to be used in a righteous manner, and he used it in an unrighteous manner. And that disobedience cost Moses. It cost him his right to see the promised land. Excuse me. So the next time that you're tempted to force an issue in order for God to work, maybe we should think about praying and then obeying. Now, God's calling us to prayer to move the face of mountains. The force of our ability ain't going to get it. It's not close to being satisfactory. It will not get the job done. God calls us to a new dimension of walking with him. Pray that he will give you grace and patience to wait on him, and that you don't take matters into your own hands. And then you won't be in jeopardy of failing to move into the promised land in your life. I'm Pastor Mark. I love you guys. Be safe, be well, be blessed, be strong. Go do something for Jesus, and I'll see you tomorrow.